Hey everybody, how you doing today? See, let me just adjust this a little better. Dr. Ray here, and I'm going to talk a little bit about some things that have been going on over the last, I guess, week and a half since I did my last live session. The first thing I gotta say is I hope you had a good Thanksgiving. We're now on the weekend. Thanksgiving's over, but I hope you had a good time. Okay, so I'll talk about my Thanksgiving. First thing I want to talk about today is that I've been sucked back in. What does that mean? I've been sucked back into World of Warcraft. The new expansion, Shadowlands, was just released. And unfortunately for me, I was sucked back into buying it. So what convinced me to get back into World of Warcraft? So let me talk about that for a second. So this is the game I love to hate because it drives me nuts because it's such a grinding game, and the game becomes like a full-time job if you want to get really good and do a lot of things in it. But I obviously don't have time to do that. So I've been looking at it. For some reason, the holidays and World of Warcraft kind of go together for me. I'm not quite sure why. So my father-in-law messages me yesterday, and he's like, hey, would you like the new World of Warcraft expansion for Christmas? He's like, we can each get it for each other and then play together. And boom, that set me over the edge. So I've uploaded it, and I'm going to start playing today, get back into it a little bit. I won't get into it the way that I would like to because I just don't have the time. I have so much stuff going on, which I'm going to talk about right now. And but I'm excited. So if y'all want to play with me, just post a comment in this video, and I can give y'all my username, and you can meet up and we can play together. All right. So, and just what I play in the game, I play as a druid tank mostly, but I also switch between the healing and the range DPS spec, the Moonkin spec. So that's what I play. I play druid because I can play everything pretty much. I'd like to play other champs, I just don't have time. Okay, so let's talk about my time. First, let me talk about my Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving was good. We stayed here this year, somewhat because of coronavirus, and also because we usually go back for Christmas, and since it's like a 10-hour drive to see family, it's only like a 3-week separation between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We very much like to pick one of the holidays and not do too much. You know, we like to be festive, but it's like you can only do so much, right? You cannot do everything. So we selected one, and that was our holiday of choice this year is Christmas. Obviously, COVID will affect what we do for Christmas. We want to wait and see the data and examine what's going on. But we shall see, right? We'll see kind of what's going on and make a decision in a couple weeks. But as of right now, we are planning to go. And when we do travel, like if we would have traveled this Thanksgiving, me and all the people going would have done a self-quarantine for 2 weeks before seeing each other. So that lowers the chances of getting coronavirus by a significant amount. Okay, so next on the agenda, that was my Thanksgiving. We stayed here. I'm still home. You know, I'm in my office today. You can see it's like at my desk is an absolute disaster because I've been working here. I told you guys the last time that my computer broke and it's in the shop, so I'm using a loaner computer, so nothing is set up correctly. My desk is a mess. You can see my green sheet here to the side and all kinds of stuff. But I've been doing my Christmas shopping, which is good. We got a lot of it done. The only thing, I can't find anything for my wife. I have no idea what to get her. You know, we're just talking to each other about like, well, let's not get each other anything because we're moving into this new house soon, blah, blah, blah. But you know what that means in wife code or girl code? That means you have to get me something. Anyway, there's no such thing as that I can't get her something. That doesn't go well. That's like when she says she doesn't like flowers. That doesn't mean anything. That means that's like a cue to get them for her. So same thing with this gift. So I got to find at least something small and nice and thoughtful. It doesn't have to be some big expensive item this year. I think that's her code for you don't have to get me anything means you don't have to go out and spend and do this crazy big huge gift, but you still have to get me something nice and thoughtful. So I've got to do that. So I've got to figure out something, but I've got plenty of time and I'm starting to think about it. We got some cool stuff for the kids this year, I think. So I got the older boys Risk, the board game, which I think is cool. I think it's a good like a good family game that we can all play, but also I think they'll like it. It's cool, and I think it's a good like starter into other more complicated board games that they may like in the future. So we got them Risk. They're also going to get some other cool stuff. I don't want to talk too loud because sometimes they can hear through my office, so I'm not going to talk too loud about other stuff that we got for them. But we got them that. We don't go overkill on Christmas at all. Our kids have everything they need. They really don't need anything. You know, we get them toys when they need a toy, and they don't play with toys. Like, they have tablets. They're actually getting upgrades for Christmas because theirs are really broken and bad. So things like that. But we don't go all out for Christmas. We don't spend a lot on each kid. Maybe $100 to $200. That's it. It's not a lot. It's not crazy. And they don't know any different, you know. And like, it's like we have the Nintendo Switch. We have all these big video game systems. Like, they don't need to ask for that for Christmas. So, you know, we have a family computer that they can use out. My wife's computer. So like, they just don't need a lot of stuff. So we don't try to waste money on that. You know, that's not my thing personally. So that's Christmas, and I'm super stressed and busy right now, which is crazy because I don't want to be. So I take on projects, I say yes to things, and it always comes back to be a lot of work. So I have 4 different things happening right now that are making my life just crazy. So let's talk about those 4 things. So the first thing I have capstone projects. So capstone projects are like basically mini dissertations at the master's level, basically like a master's thesis to an extent. And the problem with these theses are that students who got a little behind all tend to want to submit them right now, which our semester just ended. And it's like we're past like the too late deadline almost, and the issue is that we're at this point where it's a pain. It stretches my time and stretches my colleagues' time when they submit these right now. They should have submitted these 2 weeks ago. If they didn't submit it 2 weeks ago, it should have been like, that's it. But they always, you know, have a million excuses, and I get it. Like, we're in COVID, things are crazy with everyone's work, so you have to be more lenient. You know, maybe I'd be a little more strict in a different scenario, but we're not in that different scenario. So I do have to be more lenient, but it's a big pain, and it's going to take up a lot of time. So I have at least like 4 to 5 that I have to read through, comment, and that's an hour meeting for each one of those. So it's a lot of work on me and my colleagues. So we have that. I have that going on. That's the first big thing. Second big thing, I got a grade on my classes. And that takes a couple days of work, and I don't know that I'm really going to have that this week. I'm going to be able to start it and get a lot of it done for my students because I want them to get their final grades, but I also have a lot of stuff coming up this week that has to get done. And let me talk about those 2 things that I have to get done this week. So the first thing, I've got a presentation on Thursday with AERA. So it's a presentation on gaming, gamification in the classroom. And basically the point of the presentation is I'm going to talk about strategies and ways to implement game theory, game design, gamification into the college classroom. So that's what I'm doing. So I'm going to do that. You can see one of the kids just came in the room. So I'm going to do that, or you could hear it if you're just listening. You can hear one of the kids came in the room, saw I was doing a video, and like bolted downstairs because they're really scared. That's always funny. Okay, so what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm doing this presentation on, like, basically it's going to be to other college professors and teachers how to implement game strategies into their live or online class. So I'm going to talk about that, and that'll be kind of cool. It's going to be a great presentation. I'm actually excited about it. It's an AERA. It's a free like webinar keynote presentation, so y'all can check it out. If anyone's interested, let me know. I'll post a link and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely going to be cool. It's going to be a good presentation. I'm going to actually do the presentation on my YouTube channel, so you can actually watch the presentation that I'm going to do for everybody else. But it's going to be good, and I'm excited for it. But that's Thursday, so I'm going to be stressed until Thursday until that presentation's done. I'm going to continue to work on it. It's about like 80 to 90% done. All the content's there and ready to go. Now I'm just cleaning it up and making it good. You know, and I've got to do all those good presentation techniques, like well, I have to use some kind of visual like PowerPoint, but like I don't want to have like wordy screens and stuff like that. Like I want to have an image on the screen and that's it, and I'll talk about it. So, you know, I've got to go through that kind of stuff. So I'm doing that. So that's a big thing this week that's going to take a lot of time. The other thing that's going to take a lot of time this week is I have to. So I'm going up for promotion. I have to get my promotion materials done, which is long. It's going to take a long time. So it's just a lot of work, so I've got to get that done. So let's see. Basically what I'm doing is I'm going up for full professor, and because I'm going up for that, I have to fill like this huge narrative, and then I have to gather all my materials. I'm less concerned about gathering my materials and more concerned about, is there someone spying on me coming behind me?
Dana?
What, buddy?
Do I have to wear these?
Yes, go outside, go out the door. Shut the door too. Go ahead, shut the door. So yes, I've got to get my promotion materials already, and it's going to be a lot. So those are the 4 big things I've got going on. It's going to take up a lot of time. So you notice my son just came in the room, and he asked me, do I have to wear these goggles? So my kids watched Home Alone last night, which we watch all of them every year. It's kind of like tradition. We watch a bunch of Christmas holiday movies, and Home Alone's one of them, and they love it. They think it's hilarious that this kid is left home alone. They all say they want to be home alone, and they set up traps for me and my wife throughout the house, and we like fake run into them, and it's kind of funny, and sometimes we really run into them, and that's not funny at the time. But they were all like, first of all, the 2 things they were most fascinated about in the movie was that he got a whole entire pizza to himself, and they couldn't believe that. And the second thing that he's running around with what they call a Bay gun. And they're like, we want one of those. So the thing is, they have one. We don't really use it that often. My son got it for Christmas maybe like 2 years ago. My 10-year-old, so when he was 8. And, you know, we take it out in the backyard sometimes and set up a target. So we're going to do that because they just watched the movie and they need stuff to do. Because obviously we can't take them to stores. I took them to the beach the other day. Like, we're kind of beached out. It's not really that nice out. So we need to do stuff with these kids. So they're making targets and we're going to take them in the backyard. He brought glasses and he's like, do I have to wear these? You know, because they have to wear protection and stuff like that. So, and learn all the rules and everything like that. So we're going to do that. So that's kind of fun. The kids are going to like that. So, you know, I'm trying to do stuff with them. I'm looking at this video and I really can't believe how messy my desk is. Jeez. I got to clean up. It's just been like a crazy like a week. It's going to take me another like week or 2. I just posted a new video. I reviewed the Garmin eSports watch they sent me. Pretty cool, awesome. Definitely check out that review, but I'm really excited for this technology. I think it's super cool. I like being able to see stuff on stream, which is awesome. And yeah, that's pretty much everything that's going on. I got these big 4 things coming up. Y'all are gonna see a couple YouTube videos from that, from the presentation, and then I got to start prepping for the spring semester. So in the spring semester, I'm teaching 3 classes. I'm teaching a general instructional design class, I'm teaching a streaming for esports class, and I'm teaching an intro to programming class. So the streaming for esports will be the first time I've ever taught it. So there's going to be tons of new content on my channel for that class. And then the intro to programming class I've taught before, but I haven't taught it in like 2 to 3 years. And all the stuff that I taught needs to be completely changed around because all this technology's changed. Because it's intro to programming, and I do teach them like programming theory and a little bit of JavaScript, which that will all stay the same, but we develop websites in the class. The real like programming they learn is HTML and CSS. My students are never going to be like a C++ programmer. They need to understand basics enough that when they talk to a programmer, they can have a good talk with them, good communication. But one of the things my students really do need to learn how to do is design and develop web pages, because they have to develop a portfolio so that they can get a good job. And the problem is a lot of these website editors out there like Wix and stuff like that they're just absolutely terrible for portfolios. While you can develop a beautiful site in Wix, you can't post every file type that you might have developed, and it's a big problem. Now, if you just want to post like pictures of what you've developed, Wix will do that great. But like, I have students developing like these great e-learning pieces, and you can't post it to Wix because they don't allow you to FTP into their server. So there's issues. So the WYSIWYG like editors don't really work that well for this. If you want to pay big money, like the WordPress.com will work. Not their lower accounts. The better accounts will allow you to do this. So you really need to know some basic HTML to just design a nice little site, or even, you know, buy a site, how to upload and install WordPress yourself, which I teach my students, so that you can use one of their themes. And then it's still WYSIWYG editor, but you've done the back-end server stuff yourself. So I need to teach them how to do that in that class. So, you know, I'm going to be developing some videos to make sure all those materials are up to date, because I have a bunch of stuff on my channel like that, but it's literally like 2 or 3 years old. And that stuff changes all the time, so I need to ensure that it's up to date for my students. So I'm going to be working on that. So you're going to see a bunch of videos coming for that. But yeah, it's crazy. We're like, I'm done with classes, but I have so much. This week is just going to be absolutely insane for me. Just crazy insane. Oh yeah, and on Thursday we're gonna have my our show, the Random Access Monologues. I actually need to probably email the team for that day and see if they can come 15 minutes early, because my presentation that I have here for AERA is literally at 5, and that presentation is supposed to be at 4. So I'm going to have to message that team and see if we can meet a couple minutes early, or cut the show short and stop at 4:45, because I'm going to have this AERA presentation 5 o'clock that night. So yeah, so that's coming up. That's this week. So this week's absolutely insane, but things are slowing down. Hopefully, it seems like the university made a very good decision in, at least my university. I know other universities did as well, by ending classes Thanksgiving. I think that was the smart thing to do, just because of the way like COVID's going, and I think it makes sense schedule-wise. Like, dismissing that there's a such thing as COVID, it makes sense to end classes when they did anyway. So I gotta prep. There's gonna be lots of stuff coming up on my channel, so watch out for a lot of videos, probably like early, well, we're already 11/28, but like in a week from now, from that point before Christmas, and then I'll probably stop. I usually take a break like December 18th to 20th. I kind of stop some point around there until January 2nd. You're gonna have a break of hopefully nothing from me. Hopefully nothing. My mind is like close together, so I need a mental break. So, you know, then it'll be prep until the semester starts. But super exciting stuff coming up. I'm excited. And anyway, y'all, hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving and you're having a good weekend. And yeah, I'll be back. I probably won't come on. I'll probably wait till I'm done with my crazy week to come back on again. So I'll be back in like a week and a half, do another live session, just an update. But look for my show Thursday, Random Access Monologues. That's 4 p.m. It might be more like 3:45 if we can push it a little earlier. Then 5 p.m. that day, I'm going to have an AERA keynote webinar that y'all should watch on gamification in the classroom. And those are my 2 big things coming up this week. So stay tuned. Later, all.